I reached out and grabbed a pajama shirt and trousers just before my hand disappeared. "Ah!" I yelped, as I slammed face first onto the grassy ground. Suma squawked in surprise and flapped her wings in an attempt to regain her balance. "Jake, are you okay?" she asked, once again finding her footing on a small wooden perch. I groaned, rolling over on my back and touching my face to make sure I wasn't bleeding. "A little warning would have been appreciated," I said, sitting up and putting my trousers up, then sliding on my shirt. "Sorry, but what were you doing floating in the air without your garments?" Suma wondered. I stood up and rolled my shoulders. I was about to go to sleep. "Okay, but how are you floating?" she said. "I wasn't floating. I was laying on a bed. Boy, I sure am glad I had clothes nearby," I told her. "Oh, I don't know what a bed is, but you were laying on something. I guess that makes sense, but why were you not in your garments?" She cocked her head in confusion. "Suma, why did you summon me here?" I ignored the question because at that moment I didn't feel like detailing the intricacies of human sleeping habits. "Oh, right. We need to train," she explained excitedly. "Train? But Wait, I feel fine," I exclaimed. I was expecting to feel absolutely exhausted after staying up all night and day, but actually I felt as if I had just gotten a full night's sleep. "Suma, why am I not tired?" "Summoning a person basically reconstitutes them in our world, fully rejuvenated and healed. It was made this way so as to heal wounds dealt during battle," she told me, "although it can't revive the dead or replace lost limbs." "So, I could get stabbed, but as soon as you send me back home I will be fine?" I asked. "As long as you don't die, then sure," she said. "Are you ready to train?" Suma asked. "Sure, but what do you mean when you say train?" I wondered. "Practice our magics and battle strategies, as well as find out what our combination magic is and how it works," Suma told me. I don't know any magic," I said. Her head moved back slightly, and she ruffled her feathers. "But you use magic to kill the Borog." "No, I used a gun." "What is a gun?" "It's a weapon made to send a small piece of metal several hundred kilometers per hour at an opponent. This usually puts a hole in them, some large and some small depending on the type," I explained. "Okay, well, you can just use that in training," Suma said. "I don't have it. I don't even own one. I was just renting the one I had when I killed the Borog." Suma stayed quiet for a moment. Her beaked face gave little in the way of expression, but I could only assume it was either regret or annoyance at the sudden realization that I didn't come with this super awesome instant kill move she thought I had. "Well, how do we make one?" she finally spoke. "Your world has magic, right?" I spent a lot of time thinking about that last night, and I came up with 2 ideas. My first thought was to make a weapon that I could keep on my person at all times in my world, but that is infeasible and would most likely end with me in jail. My second thought was constructing a weapon here and leaving it with you when I'm not here. "Okay, I think we could do that. But what kind of weapon did you have in mind? A stone thrower? You have quite a few weapons here, but nothing like your gun," Suma said. "I was thinking a sword and shield, or maybe a spear. If I could figure out how to make it practical, I would try and make a gun of some kind. Even a flintlock would work. But the materials required might not even exist here, so I wouldn't worry about that yet," I told her. "What are swords and spears?" she asked. I was a bit caught off guard by the question, but I guess it made sense that their species didn't have things like that, since they don't have hands or the bodies necessary for that kind of combat. "A sword is a sharp piece of metal like iron or steel fixed to a handle, and a spear is similar but far longer," I told Suma. Suma shook her head. "I can't say I have ever heard of such things." "Does your world have the ability to smelt steel and shape it?" I asked. "We do, but it is usually only done for things like construction. I don't know if weapons can be made that way." "Might as well try," I said. With that, Suma and I went into the city in search for a metalwork and tools. I knew enough about the process from my studies and the years of preparation that I could probably do it myself if I have to. But I'd rather leave it in the hands of professionals. It only took an hour, but soon we found a small shop run by an elderly unnamed nymph, who seemed interested in making weapons out of steel instead of just normal construction supplies. I gave him a detailed drawing of a sword, shield, and a spear. I don't know how he planned to build our order without hands, but he seemed confident that he could. We paid him with some of this world's currency as well as a bit of magic power, which Suma supplied. I asked later, and she explained that was a normal way to pay here. In total, it cost us only a little bit of money. At least I think, as the metalworker seemed like he cared more about finding out if it was possible than getting paid. "How long did that nymph say our weapons would take to finish?" I asked Suma. A week total, but the spear probably only 2 days. While we waited, we spent a week training what we could. We went over potential battle tactics, what positions we could take on a battlefield, and she also explained what combination magic was. Apparently it was something we could still do, despite me not having any magic. It was performed by my lending her some of my life force, as she called it, then combining it with her own to create a unique attack or effect. Are you ready, Jake? Suma asked, as she prepared to perform the ritual to take some of my life force. Ready, I said. A magic circle formed around the two of us, then slowly they warped to form a figure 8 that connected between our bodies. I felt a feeling like a cold chill run down my body, and a wave of blue traveled from my end of the circle to hers. As soon as it touched her body, Suma began crying out in pain and fell to her stomach. As soon as she hit the ground, the circle vanished, and I ran to pick her up. Suma!